Hi, this is Jubin Sintonius, and we are the Group 6. So we will talk about the Philippines as century hands. So before we start, I would like to thank you for giving us a chance to discuss this because it's very important to us youth. So let's start. The Philippines as century hands. Written by Dr. Jose Rizal. Article 2. So we are the Group 6. This is the inspiring seafarers in the future. First, Vicente Nunez, Kent R. Moreno, Kim Alan Noguea, and last but not least, John Christian Oriel. So first and foremost, Dr. Rizal asked from himself, what will become the Philippines within a century? Will they continue to be a Spanish colony? Well, for me, if I have in the same shoes, maybe I can ask for that question. Why? Because at that time, they were still colonizing us. Although they gave us promise, but they gave us also hate and depression. Now, had this question been asked 3 centuries ago, when Legazpi's death, Malayan began to gradually deceive and find the yoke heavy, tried in vain to shake it off. Without any doubt whatsoever, the reply would have been easy. So this means that on that time they have depression before his death, like he gave all, but he is still betrayed by his fellow countrymen. Then he asks again, now then, are the Philippines in the same condition they were 3 centuries ago? For the liberal Spaniards, the ethical condition of the people remains the same. For him, for us, for them. That is, the native Filipinos have not advanced. For the friars and their followers, the people have been redeemed from savagery. That is, they have progressed. For, for many Filipinos, ethics, spirit, and customs have decayed, as decay all the good qualities of a people that falls into slavery. That is, they have Portugal. For me, it means that although we were colonized by Spaniards, we have still progressed because they gave us some things that we can apprehend in it. Formally, the Spanish authority was upheld. In this slide, it means that the Spaniard country, even though they colonized us, they still trade to other nations, just like the British, Japanese, Chinese, so that they have power. And we, the Filipinos, still idiot because of trusting them. Filipino people have remained faithful during the 3 centuries, giving up their liberty and independence. So it means they trust them. They trust the Spaniards who hurt them because of one promise. They promise us to give a luxury life, to give us tradings, to give us more money. Because of that, even though they were hurt, their pride is hurt, they trust them. That's how idiotic the Filipino. Maybe that promise never come because some things have changed. So for the next slide is Marine.
Good day everyone, I'm Engine Cadet Moreno and I will be the next reporter. Spanish domination once established, it was firmly maintained thanks to the attachment of the people, to their mutual dissensions, and to the fact that the sensitive self-love of the native had not yet been wounded. So, ang dako-dako sa Spanish nagpa-establish nga it was firmly maintained and nagpasalamat sila sa people kay kung sa ilang pagka-concern and nagkasundo sila sa ilang kuan. And to the fact that the citizens love the native had to be wounded. So the people saw their own countrymen nga, especially the army, their general officers nga nag-celebrate sila sa ilang pagka-victory, and abortions never saw the light, and still less were they themselves rewarded with mitres and raised to high offices. Through it is that neither were the natives of the time such as we are now. 3 centuries of brutalization and obscurantism have necessarily had some influence upon us. The most beautiful work of divinity in the hands of a certain artisans may finally be converted into a caricature. So the priest of that is wishing to establish their domination over the people, got in touch with it and made common cause with it against the oppressive encomenderos. So naturally, the people saw in them greater learning and some prestige and placed its confidence in them, followed their advice and listened to them in the darkest hours. All this has passed away. The derisive laughter penetrates like mortal poisons into the heart of the native who pays and suffer, and it becomes more offensive the more immunity it enjoys. A common sore, the general affront offered to a whole race has wiped away the old feuds among different provinces. So meaning ani is ang derisive laughter means a hero's failure. So mura silag kanang mura silag mortal poison nga wala na sila confidence from its former protectors. Now it's the mask have fallen and it has seen that the love and pity of the past have come to resemble the devotion of the nurse who unable to live elsewhere.
Good afternoon, sir. I am Engine Cadet John Christian, and I will be the next reporter. True, it is the Pindal could has come like a drop of balm to such bitterness, but of what use are all the codes in the world if means by the confidential report it for trifling reason if true anonymous traitor any honest citizen must be exiled or banished without a hearing, without a trial. Of what use in the Pindal code? Of what use is life if there is no security in home, no faith in justice and confidence? In a tranquility of consequence of what use is the array of terms, all the collection of articles when the cowardly accusation of traitorous may influence in the timorous heirs of supreme autocrat that all the cries for justice. So pindal gud nga tinuod na miabot na sama sa tulo ka sa drop of balm sa gingon sa kapaitan. So apan unsa mga puslana ng kwan tanan nga angkod sa kalibutan kung pinaagis confidential nga mga tao kung tungod sa hinungdan kung pinaagi sa dili pailan nga mga traidor bisad kinsa nga matinuran sa lungsuranon mahimong madistri o mawala sa pagdungog. So for example sa kuan kanang sa dato pobre nga kaso, so mas dako jud ang advantage sa dato kaysa pobre. Dili jud sila makadaog sa dato kay naay jud ilang kuan kanang gitawag og supreme kanang dako jud. The batteries are gradually becoming charged, and if the prudence of the government does not provide an outlet for the current that are accumulating, someday the spark will be generated. This is not the place to speak of what outcomes such a deplorable conflict might have, for it depends upon chance, upon the weapons and a thousand circumstances which man cannot force. But even though all the advantage will be on the government side, and therefore the probability of success will be Patrick victory and no government out to desires chat. So ang baterya hinahinayan kuan daw kanang ningsingil og kung ang pagkabutan sa gobyerno dili makatag outlet. So alang sa mga kuan sulog nga natipon. So pila ka adlaw ang spark will be kuan generated. Dili kini ang lugar aron hisgutan kung unsang sagputan sa usa ka makilisang kuan kanang sa panagbangi tungod kay kini nag-agad sa gayon sa mga hikay banog sa ka libo na mga kahimtang nga dili makita sa tawo. So then if the prudence and wise reform of our minister do not find capable and determined interpreters among the colonial governance and faithful perpetrators among those whom frequent political change seem to fill such a delicate post, if the internal it is out of order, fed by the elements who see their livelihood in the backwardness of their subject, if just claim are too unheeded as being of subsurvive tendency if the country is denied presentation, if the court is unauthorized voice to cry out against all kinds of abuses. So, then, kung mabinayon og malamon nga pagbago sa atong mga ministro. So, dili makit-an ang kuan kanang mga may katakos og determinado ng mga kuan, mga taliwala sa kuan kalang kolonya na gobernador. So, og mga matinud anon nga nagpadayon taliwala na gipadala sa kanunay nga mga pagbag-o sa politika aron sa mapun-an ang kuan usa ka katungdanan. Last is Machiavelli himself held this means of subjecting a people to a perilous observing that loss of welfare stir up more obdurate enemies than loss of life. Moreover, when there are wealth and abundance, there is a less discontent, discomplaint, and government itself Wilter has more means of sustaining itself. On the other hand, there occurs in a poor country what happens in the house where bread is wanting and future of what used to the mother country will the poor and lean colony be. So si Machiavelli was a Italian diplomat, philosopher, and a writer who lived during the Renaissance. So he was the best known for the Prince written about 1513. So he was often been called the father of modern political philosophy and political science. So siya mismo ang kuan kanang naghupot sa kini nga pamaagi sa pagpailawom sa katalagman sa usa ka katawhan nga na obserbahan nga ang pagkawala sa kayuhan sa napukaw sa labi sa kadaghang kaaway kaysa pagkawala sa kinabuhi.
So good day everyone, I am Engine Cadet Ugia. So I'm going to explain you about my topic. So titulan ko ni og progress kay karang this was the time that Spaniards invade us, and I will tell you about what did Spaniards did us on that day that they invade our country. The Filipino embraces civilization and lives and thrives in every clime, in contact with every people. So we all Filipino just want a civilization and a good lives, and we all want na umunlad ang ating bansa. But that poison which exterminated the natives of Pacific Islands. So we Filipino was invaded by the Spaniards, Americans, and Japanese. But rather comparison of their present condition with that described by the early historians make it appear the Filipinos have grown soberer. So we grow soberer because of that invaders that came to our country. The petty wars with the inhabitants of South consumed the only soldier people who, by their fidelity to the Spanish flag, far from being menace, are surely one of its solidarity. So the old Filipino don't have a strength to fight back to the Spaniards. That's why we Filipino became slave to Spaniards. The remains of fostering of intestine feuds among the provinces. So ang probinsya na lang ang habilin nga mo encourage sa internal sa uban. This was firmly possible when communication from one island to another was rare and difficult, when there were no streamers or telegraph lines, when the regiment were. So the communication on that day was so impossible, and there are no any telegraphs or telephones to communicate to the other provinces. It is so hard to communicate with them with with that old kind of technologies. It is true that the union is not yet wholly perfected, but to this end tend the measure of the good government, the vexation to which the townspeople are subjected, the frequent changes of officials, the scarcity of centers of learning, which forces the youth of the island to come together and begin to get acquainted. So in this sentence, they said that the youth was on one place. So in this mean that the youth was the chance to raise up our country and to fight the Spaniards. The example of this was Gregorio del Pilar. He is the youngest general in the Philippines. So that was he our country to the American soldier that want to invade us. Mao to ko example nga kan si Gregorio de Pilar gitapok ang sa kasambayanan mga youth para maulaban sa mga invaders ug iyang iprotekta ang Pilipinas. In short then, the advancement and ethical progress of Philippines are inevitable, are decreed by fate. So we all Filipinos, not all Filipinos, we all people cannot predict what happened to us, and we don't know where we're going tomorrow. So we can't choose our fate. The land cannot remain in condition they are without requiring from the sovereign country more liberty, mutatis mutandis, for new men and new social order. So atong island kay dili jud na sa mga condition permi kay na may require sa country. To wish that the allied child remain in the swaddling clothes is to risk that may turn against its nurse and flee, tearing away the old rugs that blind it. The Philippines then will remain under Spanish domination, but with more law and greater liberty, or they will declare themselves independent after steeping themselves and the mother country in blood. So kita ang Pilipinas sa una kay under sa domination sa Spaniards, luoy kisanan mga tatong country kay puno jud sa patay sa una tungod sa pag-invade sa Spaniards sa una. As no one should desire or hope for such an opportunate rupture, which would be an evil for all and only final argument in the most desperate predicament, let you see form the peace evolution, the island may remain subjected to the Spanish authority with the very least determined to the rights, interests, and dignities both of parties. So the old Filipinos are nangugtangan sila pag-asa kay tungod sa pagdominant sa mga Spaniard dato sa una. Mao to ang Pinoy kay nangita og dignity sa both party, gusto sila og balance ra, gusto sila day kalayaan. Mao na kani karon kay nakalaya ta sa Spaniards. So that's all guys. Thanks for watching our videos. Hope you enjoy and also learn it.